Welcome to day 3 of Trauma Informed Yin Yoga training. I'm Annie, and let's get started. So, in the previous 2 days, we looked at what is trauma and triggers, and then on day 2, we looked at the decoding of our autonomic nervous system. In day 3, we're going to look into what is trauma informed Yin Yoga, and then as well some of the misconceptions of Yin Yoga for healing. Let's start with a quote. Being vulnerable is the ultimate act of courage by Brene Brown. I absolutely love this quote because Yin Yoga is all about vulnerability. Yeah, to be able to sit in stillness and observe our mind, to be able to kind of let our body just be at one place instead of running away or escaping the moment. It's very vulnerable and it requires a lot of courage. So what is trauma-informed Yin Yoga and how does it differ from a regular Yin Yoga class? In order for us to understand what is trauma-informed Yin, we must start with what isn't trauma-informed Yin Yoga. First of all, it is not trauma-informed Yin Yoga when we're helping someone to overcome their current problems such as addiction, PTSD, and depression. We're not specifically working on their current problems. Yeah. And then second one is you keep helping out your students for things other than what they came to you for originally. So most students come to Yin Yoga because they want to kind of through the practice to feel more regulated, more relaxed. But then if you start finding yourself working on things other than that, yeah, maybe you start talking about the problems and they start calling you, telling you about the problems at home, yeah, that is not part of your scope of practice. And then lastly, whenever you feel uncomfortable and unqualified. Now I know this kind of may be like, oh, well, what if I have imposter syndrome? I do know what I am doing, but I just feel uncomfortable. Now that's slightly different. If you feel uncomfortable and you start to feel that you're kind of stepping into a zone that's not part of your scope of practice, that's a red flag. Maybe it can just start it off with someone sharing with you their addiction. You might just start it by lending a listening ear, and then you start finding yourself being really uncomfortable having that conversation. That can be a sign that you are already stepping out of your scope of practice. And then of course, if you feel unqualified, yeah, we're not qualified to diagnose. We cannot tell someone what they should do, yeah, to treat their PTSD. We should not tell someone what diet they should take to help with depression. That's not what we're here for. We are Yin Yoga teachers and we specifically work in the yoga paradigm only. Yeah, that's specifically to do with classes and sequences and different somatic exercises. But if you start finding yourself helping people with their actual problems, yeah, that is not trauma-informed Yin Yoga. So I like to say, the ultimate goal of Yin Yoga is regulation, not relaxation. Yeah. So obviously, a lot of people associate Yin Yoga with relaxation. That is true. Yeah, we do feel more relaxed oftentimes after Yin Yoga, but that can be a side effect because our nervous system is regulated. And you also have to know, like we're going to look into the misconception soon, is that maybe relaxation isn't all that helpful. It's not what someone needs at that moment. Yeah. So keep this in mind. The ultimate goal of Yin Yoga is regulation, not relaxation. So as a trauma-informed Yin teacher, yeah, what is trauma-informed Yin? You know what to look for. Yeah, as a trauma-informed Yin teacher, you know what to look for. You know how to meet stress responses, and you know when to refer out. What are you looking for? You're looking for distress symptoms. Yeah, maybe some students are giving you a body language that if you're not trained, you might not notice it. But once you're trained as a trauma-informed teacher, you go, hey, that body language may be signaling a nervous system stimulation, and it can lead to a dysregulation down the road. You know how to meet the stress response. So maybe you start seeing your students approaching their capacity, and you know when to pull back, or you know which other exercises to bring in, or which yin poses to integrate to help them kind of find balance. And then of course you know when to refer out. So this go really well with when you start finding yourself in a situation that maybe the student is oversharing, or you start to find yourself working on a problem other than what you're qualified for. You refer out. You just go, hey, I'm not qualified to do this, but let me refer you to someone else. Yeah, or at least just say you're not qualified to do that, right? So this is what a trauma-informed yin teacher is trained to do. And how about for your healing? Your trauma-informed yin practice should help you understand your inner landscape. Now, this could be just sitting quietly with your mind, or journaling after class. The time that you spend on your mat doing your yin yoga should help you know a little bit more about who you are deep down. And it may take several practices, or there might be ups and downs. Yeah, maybe one week you just feel really connected, then the next week you just feel completely disconnected. And that is the process. Next is your practice should help you explore and expand your capacity. So lots of times people think that yin is too strong of a practice. Yeah, I had this conversation with people a lot, is that, oh no, yin yoga is quite strong, we should just stick with something lighter. But the thing is, the world is filled with things that are not so light, right? We might encounter conflicts and challenges in life, and in a way, the yin practice is a great medium for you to explore your capacity and then stretch it little by little. Yeah, safely as well. You don't want to step into re-traumatization. But then I love yin yoga because it does challenge us, but then we have the flexibility to pull back. Yeah. And that goes really well with knowing who you are, knowing your inner landscape at that moment and how to explore and expand it. Then it should also provide you clarity. Oftentimes, when we are clouded, our judgment, or we're feeling really overwhelmed, you're not able to make informed decisions, right? And the yin practice help you regulate your nervous system so that after class you can feel like as if someone kind of just remove obstacles from your eyes. Yeah, I like to think like it's almost like having someone like wipe the lenses, like a dirty window. You wipe the lenses and you go, wow, I can see a lot more now. And that is the beauty of a yin practice. It's not just about relaxation. It's not about putting you to sleep. You can do yin yoga at any time of the day, morning, afternoon, evening. But what it does is it serves its purpose. Maybe you do it in the day to help energize you. Maybe you do it after or while you're feeling like overwhelmed. You just want a space to kind of like settle, and then you come out with more clarity. Yeah, there's a purpose to it. And then lastly, it nurture, but it also challenge you appropriately. That go back to the explore and expand. It should nurture you so that you feel safe in your body. But you're always feeling safe and you kind of like not push your edge, you're never gonna know how resilient you are. For trauma survivors, it's all about empowerment. It's all about helping people to understand that they're strong despite what have happened to them. And when we're able to step up to the challenge safely in our yin yoga practice, it helps to kind of feel that empowerment through your practice and then transfer that into your into your other areas of your life. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So therefore, your trauma-informed yin practice should nurture your body, your mind, your soul. It should also challenge it little by little so that you're able to step out of your mat just a little bit more resilient, a little bit stronger, a little bit more confident. So from Coco, who graduated from my program, she said the biggest takeaway for me is learning how to be more inclusive verbally and non-verbally, and think about how to design yin classes that give students choices to feel in control, and how to create a safe environment, friendly sequence for practice. Annie's training is very informative, balanced, in which theory and practice are both valued in order to graduate. And even though it was a virtual course, you could feel the human connection with other participants. So as a yin teacher, as a skilled trauma-informed yin teacher, it's having the ability to verbally guide and then also holding silence, and then the wisdom to know when to do either, right? The goal is not to just go, oh, I'm gonna drop into silence and let my students move through that negative space on their own. They might not be ready for it, yeah. And it's your ability to read the room, to read your clients in that moment. Maybe last week your students are able to kind of move through the silence on their own. They feel safe enough to do so. But then maybe within that week, something else have happened to them and they feel like not so grounded in their body and mind. And you have the knowledge and tools to read that without asking. You go, okay, there are certain body languages, certain eye movement telling you, and breathing patterns telling you that, like, okay, my students may not be in a space for a prolonged period of silence. You know when to speak more to help them regulate. Yeah. So I'm so happy that Coco found the training really helpful and that she has the ability to create a safe container for her students and her community. So let's look at the misconceptions of yin yoga specifically for trauma healing. Yeah, there are many other misconceptions in, let's say, physical, but specifically for trauma healing, there are 3 that I notice. First one is, the more we let go in yin, the faster we heal. It is almost like a habit for a lot of yin yoga teachers that say, release what no longer serves you, let go of the body, yeah, move into that space. But however, maybe that's not what you need. Yeah. If you recall what you learned in previous day about the nervous system, if some of the students are already in a collapsed state, they're in a dorsal-vagal tone, more releasing may push them further down that ladder in their nervous system, and they're not able to kind of build up that sympathetic drive to bring them back up into a socially connected space, which is called a ventrovagal tone, right? So more letting go isn't the goal. The goal is to read the students and have the ability to go, maybe the students doesn't need more letting go. The students need to be able to fire up more, right? To take charge more, I hope that makes sense. The second misconception of yin is that holding silence incessantly is encouraged to help students to go within. So maybe because yin yoga, we're thinking, oh, the more we go within, the better. Again, maybe that's not what your student need. Maybe they need to go out a little bit more. They need to be doing more vocals. They need to be open their eyes in their practice, right? Maybe the holding silence is too traumatic for someone. Yeah, maybe to sit silently with their mind is too frightening for your students. They're not there yet. They're not ready yet, right? So holding silence incessantly is not ideal in certain situations. Then you have to be able to read the signs. You have to read the atmosphere in the room to feel that, and then to adjust. Yeah, you need to speak. Yeah, and what to speak. That's what I teach you inside the training. Then lastly, this is a big misconception, is that thinking all yin yoga poses are energetically equal. Right? So maybe you're thinking like, okay, maybe the objective is to do all the poses 3 to 5 minutes long. Maybe that's what you've learned in your training, yeah. Or maybe you're thinking the longer we hold certain poses, the better, right? That's not true, because you have to think about the yin pose itself is like an herb. Yeah, I like to think of it like an herb. And then the whole class, yeah, the whole sequence is like a tonic. Yeah, you're making a special tonic. And what poses that you put in what order is gonna facilitate a very different journey. Yeah. So think like, okay, so think about you're making a cup of chai tea, right? And then the yin poses are like different herbs. And if you just put random spices into your cup and then you pour cold water in it, it's not going to taste very good. The whole experience is going to be spoiled. It's going to be ruined, right? But then if you start putting the right herbs, the cinnamon, the cardamom, the cloves, and then you boil the water in the right temperature, you play soft music in the background, you sit by the window, and then you slowly sip it. That is what you're creating in your yin class. Yeah, and when you understand how to put that whole sequence together, how to put that whole tonic together for that specific person or specific group, they're gonna feel the energetic impact. So I hope that metaphor helps. But at the end of the day, like your yin class is a journey, right? How you start, what poses you start with, where you're taking them into the middle of the class, and then where you're taking them at the end of the class, it should be different, yeah, to serve different energetic needs. And that's what I show you inside my training is I show you what poses would do what, and then how you can mix them up together along with different somatic exercises to curate a soulful journey, to create a journey specifically for someone on their trauma healing path, right? So what trauma-informed yin teachers are equipped with is the understanding on how unique fascial system adapts for survival after traumatic event. Inside my training, we're going to specifically look at how fascia works, and what happens during and after a traumatic event. Then the best choice of poses and somatic exercises you can do in the four states of the nervous system, your ability to read autonomic expressions, and a plan of action to upregulate or downregulate the nervous system. Thorough understanding on how to design trauma-informed yin classes to help someone on their recovery journey, somatic exercises and complementary practices to titrate the class experience. What is titration? So that you can slowly expand someone's capacity on their mat. And then lastly, the skill to promote self-understanding through yin yoga without re-traumatization. So that's what a well-trained trauma-informed yin teachers should be able to do. So that, as you can see, like it seems that there is a lot going on behind the scene. Once you're equipped with this information, you get really good at it. Yeah, so don't feel overwhelmed. You get really good at it. It will be a second nature for you to read the autonomic nervous system expression. It will be second nature for you to know which somatic exercise, which yin yoga poses to do at different stages of your nervous system arousal. So from Misha, who graduated from my program, she said, I appreciate being paired with someone new each time to increase learning opportunities and meet everyone online. It made it feel not feel so online per se. I enjoy learning about the soma and the somatic exercises. It was really helpful to learn about the curves of a yin class in respect to where people are at in their nervous system. This training shines light on trauma, aiding us to be more mindful as teachers and as people. Definitely worth doing. So I'm sharing Misha's experience with you is because if you're hesitant to do an online program, you're thinking that it's like really impersonal, you're not able to meet anyone else. Just trust that you'll be able to pair up with someone new, another classmate in the virtual space, so that you're able to work on the material that you've learned. And then lastly is, again, Misha now understand what's called the curve. This is what I show you inside my training. And then there is a specific way, my method that help you to kind of look at your yin yoga sequence in a different light. It's not like a set sequence. It's definitely not a set sequence. It's something that is just a way, a method to look at it so that you can bring your wisdom into it. You can bring your personality and your experience into it to make it your own. Yeah. So let's get onto your mat and we'll do a really small practice of trauma-informed yin practice so that you can have a direct experience of this powerful practice. So coming to your yoga mat, we're going to do a very simple trauma-informed yin practice. And I'm combining a short somatic exercise to help you feel more grounded and connected to yourself. We'll start with a simple butterfly position. So let's join the soles of our feet together. And if you need to place like bolsters or blocks underneath your knees for more support, please go ahead. And as you just sit quietly here, you can bring your hands in the soles of your feet. And if you're willing, close your eyes. If not, keep them open. And before we move into the pose, just do a check-in. Do you notice any specific body sensations? And how do you feel at this moment? And slowly relax your lower back and curling, folding forward gently. You're welcome to use a block or a pillow to support your forehead. If not, just simply moving as deeply as you feel comfortable. Letting the belly be soft. There's a particular thought lingering in your mind. Simply acknowledge it and then let it go. Notice that the body has opened up a little bit and invite you to deepen. It is your empowered choice to move a little deeper or stay exactly where you are. And then slowly rolling back up, keeping your chin nice and soft, and then rolling all the way up. The spine can be relaxed and neutral. Let's slowly opening our eyes. You can keep your feet where they are or just slowly cross them. Let's bring our hands, palms over our knees. Roll the shoulders back slightly, keeping your eyes softly open. Allowing the sensory to come back online. Allowing the visual field to be flooded with different objects and lights in your room. We'll do a simple sound, and this sound is VOO, VOO. It's a soft vocal that sounds like this. A soft breath in, VOO. And let's practice the sound together. Take a breath in, VOO. Allow the vibration of the sound to activate the vagus nerve, allowing us to stimulate the rest and digest response. And before we conclude this practice, I invite you to notice any other body sensations you may experience now. And then what feelings may have emerged after this practice. And then when you're ready, Jenny, relax. Maybe you open your eyes if they were closed. And thank you. And this was our trauma-informed yin practice with the somatic exercise wooing. So I hope you have enjoyed the practice. Feel free to go ahead, download your day 3 worksheet, and reflect on what you've learned in this lesson. Thank you so much for your intention and attention. Namaste.